The ground shook for 3 days straight when the alien ship crashed in the Australian desert. People in cities hundreds of miles away felt the tremors. Satellites picked up the massive explosion, and every government on Earth scrambled to figure out what had happened. The ship was enormous. 2 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide, it lay smoking in a crater that could hold 10 football stadiums. Its dark metal hull reflected no light, making it look like a hole cut out of the desert floor. Strange symbols glowed faintly along its sides, pulsing like a dying heartbeat. Dr. Sarah Chen was among the first scientists to reach the crash site. She had spent her life studying quantum physics, but nothing had prepared her for this. The ship's metal felt cold even under the blazing Australian sun. When she touched it, her instruments went crazy, detecting energy patterns that should not exist. "This technology is centuries ahead of us," whispered Dr. Martinez, her research partner. He aimed his scanner at the hull, watching numbers dance across the screen. "Look at these readings." The metal itself stores energy somehow. For 2 weeks, the scientists could only examine the outside of the ship. The hull had no visible doors or windows. Then, on a Tuesday morning, everything changed. The ship suddenly opened. A section of the hull simply melted away like ice, revealing a corridor inside. Strange lights flickered on, casting purple shadows on the walls. The air that flowed out smelled like ozone and copper. 3 aliens emerged from the ship. They stood 3 meters tall, with long limbs and skin that shifted color like oil on water. Their faces had 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, and when they spoke, their voices sounded like music played backwards. "Humans of Earth," the lead alien said. Its words somehow translated directly into every language on the planet simultaneously. "I am Commander Zethkral of the Zephyrian Empire. Our vessel has suffered critical damage and cannot be repaired with the primitive materials available on your world." Sarah stepped forward, her heart pounding. "We want to help. Our best engineers and scientists are here. Maybe together we can." The alien's 4 eyes focused on her, and she felt a chill run down her spine. "Your species lacks the intelligence to understand our technology. Your tools are crude. Your knowledge is limited. What you call advanced science, we mastered millennia ago." Commander Zethkral gestured toward the ship with one long arm. "We have contacted our fleet. They will retrieve us within 1 solar day. This vessel will remain here as a monument to your limitations. Perhaps in 1,000 years, your descendants might begin to understand what they are looking at." Dr. Martinez tried to argue. "But surely there's something we can do. Our manufacturing capabilities, our materials, your greatest achievements are toys compared to Zephyrian science," another alien interrupted. "Your fusion reactors are inefficient. Your computers are slow. Your weapons are primitive. You have not even achieved faster than light travel." Sarah watched the aliens return to their ship. Before the hull closed, Commander Zethkral turned back to the assembled humans. "We will return to this world in 50 years. When we do, we will establish mining operations here. Your planet has resources we require. You will comply with our directives, or you will be removed." The hull sealed itself, leaving no trace of an opening. That night, a smaller ship descended from the sky and landed beside the wreckage. The 3 aliens boarded it and disappeared into the stars, leaving behind only their broken vessel and their warning. World leaders argued for days about what to do with the alien ship. Some wanted to study it. Others wanted to destroy it before the aliens returned. A few suggested trying to hide it or move it. Dr. Sarah Chun had other ideas. 3 weeks after the aliens left, she stood inside the ship with a team of engineers and scientists from 12 countries. The corridors were wide enough for humans to walk through, though everything seemed designed for creatures much taller than they were. "Look at this," called Tom Bradley, a nuclear engineer from MIT. He stood before a wall covered in crystal formations that pulsed with inner light. These aren't just decorations. They're storing massive amounts of energy. Sarah examined what looked like a control panel. The symbols meant nothing to her, but she could see the logic in their arrangement. The aliens were wrong about one thing, she said quietly. "What's that?" asked Dr. Yamamoto from Tokyo. "They said we couldn't understand their technology, but they built this ship using the same physical laws we know. Energy, matter, gravity, electromagnetism. The principles are the same. They just applied them differently." Tom nodded, running his scanner over the crystal wall. These energy storage units are incredibly sophisticated, but the basic concept is just a more advanced version of our own battery technology. And look at this. He led them deeper into the ship, to a massive chamber filled with machinery that hummed softly. This is their main reactor. It's amazing, but it's also incredibly complex. Every component depends on every other component. One failure and the whole system crashes. Sarah studied the reactor, her mind racing. Human engineering is different. We build redundancy into everything. Backup systems, fail-safes, multiple ways to accomplish the same task. It's not elegant, but it's reliable. "Are you thinking what I think you're thinking?" asked Dr. Martinez. Sarah smiled for the first time since the crash. The aliens assumed that more complex means better. But what if they're wrong? What if our primitive approach is actually stronger? She looked around at the team of scientists and engineers. They left us 50 years before they come back. They think we'll just sit here and wait to be conquered. Tom grinned, understanding where she was going with this. But we're humans. We don't sit and wait for anything. Exactly, Sarah said. They left us a gift. They just don't know it yet. As the team spread out through the ship, cataloging systems and taking measurements, Sarah made plans. This would be the biggest engineering project in human history. They wouldn't just repair the alien ship. They would make it better. Outside, the Australian desert wind howled across the crash site, but inside the alien vessel, something new was beginning. The humans had work to do, and 50 years to do it. Commander Zethkral had called the ship a monument to human limitations. Soon, it would become something else entirely. It would become humanity's answer. 5 years had passed since the aliens left their broken ship in the Australian desert. The crash site no longer looked like a barren wasteland. Instead, it had become the most heavily guarded scientific facility on Earth. Underground tunnels connected dozens of research labs, living quarters, and workshops. The project had a simple name: Lazarus. The goal was just as simple: bring the dead ship back to life. Commander Elena Vasquez walked through the main engineering bay, watching teams of people work on pieces of alien technology. She had spent 15 years with NASA before joining Lazarus, but nothing in her experience compared to this challenge. "Good morning, Commander," called Dr. Sarah Chun from across the bay. The physicist looked tired but excited. She had not left the facility for more than a few days in the past 5 years. "What do we have today, Sarah?" Elena asked, approaching a workbench covered with crystalline components. "Something interesting," Sarah replied, holding up a piece of alien crystal about the size of a basketball. "Remember how the aliens said their energy storage was so advanced? Well, Dr. Bradley figured something out yesterday." Tom Bradley looked up from his computer screen, grinning widely. "These crystals are amazing, but they're also incredibly fragile. One tiny crack and the whole thing becomes useless. The aliens had to build perfect crystals every time." Elena examined the crystal. It felt warm to the touch and seemed to glow from within. "And that's a problem because humans don't do perfect," Sarah laughed. "We do good enough, and we do it reliably. Tom, show her what you built." Tom led them to another workbench where a different kind of power cell sat. It looked crude compared to the alien crystal, made of metal and ceramic components bolted together. But when Tom connected it to a testing device, the numbers were impressive. "This uses our fusion technology," Tom explained. "It's not as elegant as the alien version, but it produces 30% more power. And if one component fails, we can replace it in 10 minutes. The alien crystal? If it breaks, they have to grow a new one from scratch, which takes months." Elena nodded slowly. "So our primitive technology is actually more practical." "Exactly," said a new voice behind them. Dr. James Mitchell approached, carrying a tablet filled with data. He ran the computer systems team. And that's not the only place where human engineering beats alien sophistication. James set his tablet on the workbench and showed them a comparison chart. The alien computer systems are incredibly fast and elegant. They can process enormous amounts of information almost instantly. But they have one fatal flaw. Which is? Elena asked. "They assume everything will work perfectly all the time," James replied. "No error checking, no redundancy, no backup systems. When something goes wrong, the whole network crashes." Sarah leaned over to look at the data. "Human computers are different. We expect things to go wrong, so we build systems that can handle failures." "Right," James continued. "I took one of their processing units and connected it to our computers. The result was incredible. The alien hardware with human software runs faster and more reliably than either system alone." Elena was beginning to see a pattern. "What else have we discovered?" Tom gestured toward the far end of the bay, where teams were working on larger components. "The weapon systems are the same story. The aliens built these incredibly sophisticated energy weapons that can punch through almost anything. But they overheat after a few shots and need several minutes to cool down." "Let me guess," Elena said. "We found a better way?" "Sort of," Sarah said, leading them toward the weapons testing area. "We couldn't improve their energy weapons, so we replaced them with something completely different." They stopped in front of a massive device that looked like a cannon made of spare parts. "This is a railgun," Tom explained. "It uses magnetic fields to fire projectiles at incredible speeds. It's loud, it's crude, and it kicks like a mule when you fire it. But," Elena prompted, "but it can fire once every 3 seconds, indefinitely, and each shot carries enough energy to destroy a city block." James finished. "The aliens built weapons for elegant duels. We built weapons for war." Elena walked around the railgun, impressed despite its ugly appearance. "How much of the ship have we been able to understand?" "About 60%, Sarah replied. "The propulsion system was the hardest part. The aliens use something they call quantum tunneling to move faster than light. It's incredible technology, but it requires perfect calibration and enormous amounts of energy." Tom nodded. "We've been working on it for 3 years. Dr. Petrov thinks she's close to a breakthrough, but even if we get it working, we'll need to modify it heavily to make it reliable." "What kind of modifications?" Elena asked. "The alien version is like a Formula One race car," James explained. "Fast, efficient, but delicate. Our version will be more like a tank. Slower to accelerate, but much harder to break." Elena looked around the facility at the hundreds of people working on different aspects of the project. Engineers from every major nation on Earth had contributed their expertise. "How much longer do we need?" Sarah consulted her tablet. "We have 45 years left before the aliens return. I think we can have the ship operational in 20 years. Maybe 15 if everything goes well." "Operational is one thing," Elena said. "But what about combat ready?" The 3 scientists exchanged glances. Tom spoke first. "Commander, when we started this project, our goal was just to get the ship working again. But as we've learned more about alien technology, our goals have changed. Changed how? Sarah took a deep breath. We're not just repairing their ship anymore. We're improving it. Human engineering principles are making it stronger, more reliable, and more dangerous than the aliens ever imagined. James pulled up another chart on his tablet. Look at these projections. When we're done, this ship will have 3 times the power output, twice the armor strength, and 10 times the firepower of the original design. Elena stared at the numbers. The aliens think they're coming back to a defenseless planet. They are, Tom said with a grin. They just don't know that the planet has been preparing for them. There's something else, Sarah added. We've been thinking about the alien commander's words. He said they would return in 50 years to establish mining operations. That means they don't see us as a threat. They think we'll just surrender when they show up. Elena nodded slowly. So we'll have the element of surprise. More than that, James said. We'll have something they've never faced before. They build their technology for fights against other aliens who think like they do. We think differently. Tom gestured toward the railgun again. They expect elegant energy weapons and careful tactical maneuvers. We're giving them crude kinetic weapons and aggressive attack strategies. Elena walked over to a window that looked out into the main hangar where the alien ship rested. Cables and scaffolding covered its dark hull as human engineers worked to understand and modify every system. When they come back, she said quietly, they're going to find something they never expected. What's that? Sarah asked. Elena turned back to the team, her eyes hard. They're going to find that humans don't just accept gifts. We improve them. In the distance, the alien ship waited in its cradle of human engineering, slowly transforming from a monument to human limitations into something far more dangerous. The aliens had 45 years to enjoy their confidence. Humans had 45 years to prove them wrong. 15 years after the crash, the ship emerged from its underground hangar for the first time since the aliens had abandoned it. The transformation was incredible. Where once there had been smooth, curved alien metal, angular human armor plates now covered the hull. The elegant lines of the original design had been replaced by practical human engineering. Gunboards dotted the surface like metal scales, and sensor arrays stuck out at regular intervals. Captain Marcus Torres stood on the observation deck, watching as the ship he would command rose slowly from the depths. The vessel looked nothing like the graceful alien craft that had crashed in the desert. This was something new, something that belonged to neither species alone. She's beautiful, said Commander Elena Vasquez, joining him at the window. In a terrifying way. Marcus nodded. What are we calling her? The crew voted on it last week, Elena replied. Retribution. The name fit perfectly. This ship was humanity's answer to alien arrogance. Built from their own discarded technology and improved by human determination. Dr. Sarah Chen approached them, carrying a thick folder of technical specifications. Captain Torres, I wanted to brief you on what we've accomplished before your crew begins training. Marcus opened the folder and whistled at the numbers. These performance figures can't be right. They're conservative estimates, Sarah said with pride. The fusion reactors are producing 300% more power than the original alien systems. We had to reinforce the entire power grid to handle the load. Elena pointed to one line of data. What about weapons? Completely redesigned, Sarah replied. The aliens had 12 energy beam projectors. We removed them all and installed 48 railgun batteries instead. Each one can fire armor-piercing rounds at a rate of 20 shots per minute. Marcus studied the weapons layout. And missile systems? 200 launch tubes carrying various warheads. Nuclear, kinetic, electromagnetic pulse, and some experimental designs we've been working on. Sarah's eyes gleamed with scientific excitement. The aliens never used missiles. They considered them primitive. How fast can she go? Elena asked. In normal space, about 40% faster than the original design. Our improved reactors give us more thrust. Sarah flipped to another page. But the real achievement is the jump drive. Marcus looked confused. I thought the alien faster-than-light system was too delicate for us to use. It was, Sarah agreed. So we threw it out and built our own. Dr. Mitchell's team developed something we call a jump drive. Instead of the smooth transition the aliens used, ours works more like a sledgehammer. Elena raised an eyebrow. Explain. The alien system carefully opened small holes in space and slipped through them quietly. Our system tears big holes and jumps through them fast. It's loud, it's violent, and it uses enormous amounts of power. But it works? Marcus asked. Better than works. The alien system could make one jump and then needed hours to recharge. Our system can make short jumps continuously in combat. Sarah grinned. We can appear behind an enemy, fire a few shots, and jump away before they can react. Marcus closed the folder and looked at the ship again. What about defenses? Layered shield systems using both alien and human technology, Elena answered. The aliens used elegant energy fields that deflected attacks. We kept those but added redundant backup systems. If the main shields fail, secondary systems activate automatically. Dr. James Mitchell joined their group, carrying his own tablet full of data. Captain, I wanted to talk to you about the ship's computer systems. What about them? We've created something unique, James explained. The alien processors handle complex calculations instantly, but our human software manages everything else. The result is a hybrid system that learns and adapts in real time. Marcus frowned. What do you mean, learns? During combat, the ship's computers will analyze enemy tactics and develop counters automatically. If the enemy uses the same attack twice, it probably won't work the second time. James looked excited. We've run thousands of simulations. The ship gets better at fighting the longer the battle lasts. Elena whistled softly. The aliens won't be expecting that. There's more, Sarah added. The ship can manufacture ammunition and spare parts during flight. We installed human-designed fabrication systems throughout the hull. As long as we have raw materials, we can keep fighting indefinitely. Marcus looked around at the scientists and engineers who had spent 15 years turning an alien derelict into a human war machine. How many people will it take to run all this? 150 crew members, Elena replied. Much smaller than a human ship this size would normally need, but the alien automation systems help a lot. And they're all volunteers. Every single one, Elena confirmed. We have people from 40 different countries. All of them know what's at stake. Dr. Chun opened another section of her folder. Captain, there's something else you should know. We didn't just improve the ship's systems. We changed how they work together. How so? Alien technology is designed for perfection. Every system works at maximum efficiency all the time. But human engineering accepts that things break. Sarah pointed to a schematic of the ship's internal layout. We installed redundant systems for everything critical. If the main reactor fails, backup reactors activate. If the primary weapons are damaged, secondary batteries take over. James nodded enthusiastically. The aliens would shut down a damaged system to prevent further problems. Our systems keep fighting until they're completely destroyed. Marcus studied the schematics. So if they damage us, we don't stop fighting? Correct. The ship is designed to take enormous amounts of damage and keep functioning. Elena's voice carried a note of pride. Human engineering at its finest. They watched as ground crews ran final checks on the ship's systems. Technical personnel moved across the hull like ants, making last-minute adjustments and repairs. When do we begin crew training? Marcus asked. Tomorrow, Elena replied. We have 35 years to turn your people into the most dangerous ship crew in the galaxy. Sarah looked at her watch. Actually, Captain, would you like to see the ship's interior? We've made some interesting modifications there too. Marcus nodded, and they walked toward the boarding ramp. As they entered the ship, he was struck by how different it felt from the original alien design. The corridors were narrower and more practical. Human-style lighting replaced the dim alien illumination. We redesigned everything for human use, James explained as they walked. The aliens were 3 meters tall, so we had to modify doorways, control panels, and furniture. They entered the bridge, and Marcus stopped in amazement. Instead of the alien control room with its floating holographic displays, they had built something that looked like a fusion of a starship bridge and a military command center. Traditional human design philosophy, Elena explained. Physical controls you can see and touch, with holographic displays as backups, not primary systems. Marcus sat in the captain's chair and looked around at the workstations. This feels right. Like something humans built. Because it is, Sarah said simply. We kept the alien technology that worked and replaced everything else with human engineering. Dr. Mitchell activated one of the displays, showing a 3-dimensional view of the solar system. Captain, the alien fleet will arrive exactly where they left from. We'll be waiting for them. Marcus studied the tactical display. They'll be expecting to find the same primitive planet they left behind. Instead, they'll find us, Elena said. Grimly, Sarah walked to the navigation station. Captain, this ship represents the best of both species. Alien science improved by human practicality. They gave us the tools. We made them better. Marcus stood and walked to the forward view screen, which showed the desert outside. In 35 years, alien ships would appear in the sky above Earth, expecting to find easy prey. They're going to be very surprised, he said quietly. Behind him, the crew stations hummed with power as human and alien technology worked together in ways the original designers never imagined. The ship was ready. Soon, the crew would be ready too, and then they would show the aliens what happens when humans improve a gift. 50 years to the day after they had left Earth, the Zephyrian fleet returned. Captain Marcus Torres stood on the bridge of Retribution, hidden in the shadow of Earth's moon. Through the view screen, he could see 12 massive alien ships dropping out of hyperspace in perfect formation. Each vessel was larger than the ship he commanded, but Marcus felt no fear. 35 years of training had prepared him and his crew for this moment. Alien fleet detected, reported Lieutenant Sarah Kim from the sensor station. 12 heavy cruisers arranged in standard Zephyrian intimidation formation. Marcus nodded. Are they scanning the planet? Yes, sir. Basic energy sweeps, looking for signs of advanced technology. Lieutenant Kim paused, studying her displays. They're not detecting us. Our stealth systems are working perfectly. The stealth technology was one of humanity's greatest achievements. They had combined alien cloaking fields with human signal dampening techniques, creating a system that made Retribution nearly invisible to most sensors. Communications, what are they saying? Marcus asked. Commander Elena Vasquez, now serving as his first officer, activated the main speakers. The familiar backwards music voice of the Zephyrians filled the bridge. Humans of Earth, came the transmission. This is Admiral Zenthfor of the Zephyrian Empire. We have returned as promised to establish our mining operations on your world. Marcus recognized the name. Admiral Zenthfor had been the second in command 50 years ago when Commander Zethkral had abandoned their ship. The alien continued speaking. Your species has had 50 standard years to develop faster than light travel. Our sensors indicate you have failed to achieve this basic milestone of civilization. Elena snorted quietly. If they only knew. Your radio transmissions suggest your technology has advanced minimally since our departure. You remain a primitive species, suitable only for labor in our mining operations. Lieutenant Kim looked up from her console. Captain, they're taking up positions for orbital bombardment. They'll probably demand surrender first, then start destroying cities when we don't respond. Marcus studied the tactical display. The alien ships had arranged themselves exactly as Earth's military strategists had predicted. It was a formation designed to inspire fear and demonstrate overwhelming power. But it was terrible for actual combat. All ships are showing their broadsides to the planet, observed Lieutenant Chun from the tactical station. Maximum intimidation, minimal defensive capability. Perfect, Marcus said grimly. Weapons, are all systems ready? All railgun batteries loaded and charged, sir. Missile tubes flooded and ready. Nuclear warheads armed and standing by. The alien transmission continued. We will now demonstrate our power. The city you call New York will be destroyed in 10 minutes unless your governments surrender unconditionally. Marcus looked around his bridge at the crew who had trained for decades for this moment. They were humans from every nation on Earth, united by a single purpose. Elena, signal Earth Command. Tell them the show is about to begin. Aye, sir. Marcus activated the ship's internal communications. All hands, this is the captain. In a few minutes, we're going to show these aliens what happens when they underestimate humanity. Remember your training. Trust your equipment. And let's send them a message they'll never forget. On the view screen, the alien fleet began charging their weapons. Energy built up along the hulls of their ships, preparing to rain death on the planet below. Admiral HFY War is beginning another transmission, Elena reported. Put it on speaker. People of Earth, this is your final warning. We have waited 50 years for you to evolve into a useful species. You have failed. In 5 minutes, we will begin the systematic destruction of your major population centers. Surrender now, or, Marcus smiled coldly, cut the transmission. It's time to introduce ourselves. Lieutenant Kim worked at her station. Sir, I'm reading some kind of malfunction in their communications array. What kind of malfunction? Unknown, sir. It's like something is jamming their signals. Kim paused, then looked up with excitement. Wait, I know what that is. It's our electronic warfare systems. They activated automatically when the aliens powered up their weapons. The ship's computer had been analyzing alien technology for 50 years. It knew their communication frequencies, their sensor patterns, and their weapon signatures. Now it was using that knowledge to disrupt their systems. Excellent, Marcus said. Helm, bring us around behind their flagship. Stay in the moon's shadow until the last possible moment. Aye, sir. Course laid in. Retribution moved silently through space, its hybrid human-alien engines running so quietly that they barely registered on any sensor. The ship had been designed for this kind of stealth approach. Captain, Elena said, Earth Command reports that all major cities have activated their defense shields. They're ready for whatever the aliens throw at them. Marcus nodded. Those shields were another human innovation, built using principles learned from the alien ship. They wouldn't stop everything, but they would protect millions of lives during the coming battle. Sir, Lieutenant Chen reported, the alien flagship is charging its main weapon. Target appears to be New York City. How long until they fire? 30 seconds, sir. Marcus looked at the tactical display. Retribution was now positioned directly behind the alien fleet, invisible in the shadow of the moon. The aliens had no idea what was coming. All hands, prepare for combat operations. Weapons, lock onto the flagship's reactor core. Locked on, sir. All systems ready. Communications, prepare to transmit on all Zephyrian frequencies. Ready, sir. The seconds ticked by. On the screen, the alien flagship's main weapon reached full charge. In moments, it would fire on the defenseless city below. "Sir," Elena said quietly, "the alien weapon is fully charged." Marcus stood and straightened his uniform. "Very well. Helm, the cloak and bring us alongside their flagship." "Maximum acceleration." "Aye, sir." Retribution burst from the moon's shadow like a hunting predator. Its stealth systems deactivated, revealing a ship that looked nothing like the elegant alien vessel the Zephyrians remembered. On the alien flagship's bridge, Admiral Zenthvior stared in shock at the massive, angular warship that had appeared from nowhere. The vessel bristled with weapons and moved with aggressive purpose. "What is that ship?" demanded the Admiral. "It doesn't match any known human design." His tactical officer's four eyes widened in recognition. "Sir, that whole configuration, it's our old ship. The one we abandoned 50 years ago." "Impossible. That vessel was beyond repair." "Sir, it's transmitting on all frequencies." Admiral Zenthvior activated his communicator, expecting to hear primitive human threats or desperate pleas for mercy. Instead, he heard a calm human voice that chilled him to his core. "Admiral Zenthvior, this is Captain Marcus Torres of the Earthship Retribution. You left us a gift 50 years ago. We improved it. Consider this our thank you note." The human ship suddenly accelerated, moving faster than any Zephyrian vessel. Its angular hull reflected no light, making it look like a piece of space itself had come alive. "Sir," shouted the tactical officer, "they're targeting our reactor core. How did they learn our weak points?" Admiral Zenthvior realized with growing horror that the humans had not just repaired their abandoned ship. They had studied it, learned from it, and made it better. "All ships, emergency formation. Target that vessel and—" His orders were cut off as Retribution opened fire. The bridge of the alien flagship erupted in sparks and flames as human weapons tore through shields that had never been designed to stop kinetic projectiles. Railgun rounds punched through alien armor like paper, while missiles struck critical systems with surgical precision. "Admiral," screamed a communications officer, "they're jamming all our frequencies. We can't coordinate with the fleet." Through the chaos, Admiral Zenthvior heard Captain Torres speak again. "Any other species thinking of claiming Earth should take notes. We'll be waiting for you two." The last thing Admiral Zenthvior saw was the angular human ship positioning itself for another attack run. 50 years ago, he had dismissed Earth as a primitive world, full of ignorant creatures. Now he realized the humans had used those 50 years very wisely indeed. The battle lasted exactly 11 minutes and 37 seconds. Captain Marcus Torres watched from the bridge of Retribution as the last alien ship tried desperately to escape. The elegant Zephyrian fleet, which had arrived with such confidence, was now scattered debris floating in Earth's orbit. "Final target attempting to jump to hyperspace," reported Lieutenant Kim from Sensors. "They're having trouble with their navigation systems." Marcus smiled grimly. "That's because we're jamming their computers. Helm, prepare for a micro-jump. Put us right in front of them." The jump drive engaged with its characteristic violent energy surge. Space twisted around Retribution for a split second, and suddenly the ship materialized directly in front of the fleeing alien vessel. "Target acquired," announced Lieutenant Chun from Weapons. "They're powering down their engines. I think they're trying to surrender." "Too late for that," Marcus replied coldly. "Fire!" The final salvo of railgun rounds punched through the alien ship's hull, and it exploded in a brief flash of light. The wreckage joined the debris field that had once been the mighty Zephyrian fleet. "All alien vessels destroyed, Captain," Elena reported with satisfaction. "Total human casualties, 0. Marcus looked around the bridge at his crew. They had just fought and won humanity's first space battle, and they had done it perfectly. 50 years of preparation and training had paid off in 11 minutes of devastating combat. Communications. Open a channel to Earth Command. Channel open. Sir, Earth Command, this is Retribution. The alien threat has been eliminated. All enemy vessels destroyed. We're coming home. The response came immediately, filled with cheering voices from the command center. Retribution, this is Earth Command. Outstanding work. The whole planet is celebrating. Marcus allowed himself a moment to enjoy the victory before getting back to business. Elena, have the damage control teams report. How did we hold up? Minor damage to hull plating on decks 7 and 12. One railgun battery is offline for repairs. Shield generators are at 96% efficiency. Elena paused to check her displays. Sir, we barely got scratched. Dr. Sarah Chen's voice came through the intercom from the engineering section. Captain, I wanted you to know that all our hybrid systems performed perfectly. The alien technology integrated with human engineering exactly as we hoped. What about the adaptive combat systems? Marcus asked. Even better than simulated. Dr. James Mitchell replied from the computer center. By the end of the battle, our targeting accuracy was 98%. The ship learned their attack patterns and started predicting their moves. Marcus shook his head in amazement. The aliens had brought 12 heavy cruisers against one hybrid ship, and they had been completely outmatched. What went wrong for them? Lieutenant Kim brought up a tactical replay on the main screen. Everything, sir. They expected to fight other aliens who would use similar tactics. Instead, they got human combat doctrine. The replay showed the battle from start to finish. The aliens had tried to engage in careful, elegant combat maneuvers, while Retribution had simply charged straight through their formation. Guns blazing. Look at this. Elena pointed to one section of the replay. When we used the jump drive to appear behind their second ship, their whole formation fell apart. They had no idea how to handle an enemy that could move that fast. Marcus studied the tactical data. Their weapons were designed for long-range energy duels. When we closed to short range and used kinetic weapons, their shields couldn't adapt. Dr. Chun's voice came through the speakers again. Captain, there's something else you should see. The alien energy weapons that hit us actually made our armor stronger. How is that possible? The alien beams were designed to overload molecular bonds in their own armor materials. But human steel and ceramic composites react differently. The energy actually fused our hull plating into a stronger configuration. Marcus laughed. So their weapons made us harder to kill? Exactly. Another advantage of using different engineering principles. Lieutenant Kim highlighted another part of the replay. Sir, their biggest mistake was assuming we would fight like they do. They positioned their ships for maximum firepower in one direction, thinking we would stay at long range. Instead, we jumped around them and attacked from all sides, Marcus observed. They couldn't bring their weapons to bear on a target that kept changing position. The battle replay showed Retribution making a series of short-range jumps, appearing behind enemy ships, delivering devastating attacks. Then jumping away before return fire could be effective. The alien fleet had never faced tactics like these. It's more than just tactics, Elena said thoughtfully. It's the difference between how aliens and humans approach problems. Explain. The aliens build perfect systems that work flawlessly under ideal conditions. But space combat is never ideal. Things break, systems fail, and plans go wrong. Elena gestured at the wreckage on the screen. Human engineering expects problems and builds around them. Dr. Mitchell's voice joined the conversation. Our ship kept fighting even when systems were damaged. Their ships shut down entire weapon arrays when they detected minor problems. They were designed to preserve themselves, not win battles. Marcus nodded, understanding. They built their ships to survive. We built ours to fight. Captain, Dr. Chun called from engineering. I'm reading something interesting in the alien wreckage. Their data cores are intact on several ships. We could learn a lot from studying them. Negative, Marcus replied firmly. We don't need their technology anymore. We've proven that human engineering can beat anything they build. There was pride in his voice, but also wisdom. The aliens had left them one ship and assumed it would be useless. Humanity had turned that single gift into a weapon that destroyed an entire fleet. Sir, Lieutenant Kim said, Earth Command is asking if we want to pursue any surviving aliens. Marcus considered the question. Are there any survivors? Unknown, sir. Some crew members might have escaped in life pods before their ships were destroyed. Let them go, Marcus decided. They'll carry the message back to their empire. Earth is no longer a defenseless world. Elena looked surprised. Sir, they might return with a larger fleet. Marcus smiled confidently. Let them try. By the time they get back, we'll have built 100 ships like Retribution. Maybe 1,000. The thought was sobering. One human ship had just destroyed 12 alien vessels without serious damage. What could a fleet of such ships accomplish? Helm, set course for Earth. Best speed. Aye, sir. Course laid in. As Retribution began its journey home, Marcus looked out at the debris field that marked the end of the alien threat. 50 years ago, Commander Zeth Krell had called their abandoned ship a monument to human limitations. Instead, it had become a monument to human determination. Captain, Elena said quietly, what do you think the aliens will do now? Marcus considered the question. They'll probably leave us alone for a while, but eventually they'll come back or send someone else. Aliens seem to have trouble believing that humans can be dangerous. And when they do come back, we'll be ready, Marcus replied with confidence. We learned something important today. Alien technology isn't superior to human technology. It's just different. And different doesn't always mean better. Dr. Chun's voice came through the speakers one final time. Captain, I wanted to thank you and the crew. 50 years ago, I was just a scientist who studied alien crystals. Today, we proved that human ingenuity can overcome any challenge. Marcus looked around at his crew, who had spent their entire adult lives preparing for this moment. They had taken alien arrogance and turned it into human victory. No, Doctor, he replied. Today we proved something even more important. We proved that when someone underestimates humanity, they do so at their own peril. Through the view screen, Earth grew larger as Retribution approached home. The planet looked peaceful from space, but Marcus knew that billions of people were watching their return. Children would grow up hearing stories about the day humans fought back against alien invaders, and the aliens had left Earth, thinking they would return to claim an easy prize. Instead, they found something they never expected. They have found that humans don't stay down when knocked down. They get up, they learn, they adapt, and they hit back harder than anyone thought possible. The Zephyrian Empire would remember this day for a very long time. And they would remember to treat humans with respect, or they would learn the same lesson all over again.